Welcome back to the Plan Development Workflow video series for F.Connect. In this video, I'm going to go over Chapter 10, which covers our plan sheet, border annotation, as well as sheet indexing. So the topics we're going to cover today is going to be setting the workset properties, which we'll look at for our sheet border annotations. We're going to create custom engineer of record cells. And then we're going to go over placing those custom EOR cells, as well as placing our sheet models into sheet index. So in-sheet annotations have been set up to read from our workset properties. And in this chapter, we'll review which workset properties are utilized. This chapter is also going to show, like I said, the custom tool that we've created for placing our EOR cells. So let's get started. So I've gone ahead and launched my F.Connect for OpenRoads Designer using the icon on my desktop. So before we get into any files, what we want to actually do is on our splash screen right here, we want to make sure that we've set our workspace to FDOT and our work set to the 220 CE project. And over here on the right is where we can look at our workset properties. So in order to actually edit these, what we want to do is we want to click on properties, and then we want to click on advanced properties. And that'll give us our edit workset dialog. So with this project, what we've done is we've gone ahead and pre-populated the fields that we'll be using for our border annotation. The ones we want to pay attention to are the county names field, as well as the county numbers, our financial project number, and if I scroll down in my list to the bottom, we'll also make sure we've got our state road numbers set in there. So I've gone ahead and verified that. So now I'll just click OK to close that. And I'm going to open up my key sheet that we created in a previous video. Browse to my roadway folder. So once that opens up, I just want to zoom into the top center portion of my key sheet right here. And we touched on this a little bit in the actual key sheet video. So if you'll notice that my project ID field here, as well as my county name, county number are filled out for me, and those are pulling from those actual work sets. So if I was to, or work set properties. So if I was to go back and make a change to, say I had entered my project ID incorrectly, I would just make that change there. And so previously we had already cleaned up the redundancy down here for the state road number 61, SR 61. And that's looking at step number 6 in the training guide. So that's how it pulls in for our key sheet. Now let me jump into a plan sheet that we'd previously created, and I'll show where those get populated as well. So now that I'm back in my plan RD file, I'll just zoom down into my title block area here. And if you'll notice as well, this is filled out for me automatically, the road number, county, and financial project ID. So that's how our road number, our county, and our financial project ID get populated. The actual sheet description, we've also got set up to just populate from our create file application. And that one looks at the actual file description. So I'm in my plan RD right now, and it's pulled this description right here for plan. And so I'll just close that. And in the next exercise, we'll cover how to bring in our engineer of record cell. So that is the end of 10.2. So now we're going to get into exercise 10.2, which covers creating our custom engineer of record cells. So within the F.Connect software, we have provided a template cell library similar to our seals.cell, which we went over in a previous video. So with this one, it's going to be a similar process to that. So what I want to do first is I want to browse to my F.Connect install, And on my machine, it's a workstation, so I'm local here on my C drive. So I'm in C f.connect, and I want to browse to Organization Civil, FDOT, and into my cells folder. And I'll scroll down in my list here, and the cell that we're looking for is Prof of Record. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on that and copy that one. And I'm going to browse back to my work set location. And so this one's just going to be project specific. So I'm just going to save it into my cell library. I'll do right click and paste. And so once I've got it in there, I'm just going to go ahead and rename it. I'm just going to rename it and just add my name to it so that I can distinguish between these libraries. Okay, so now that we've got that created, what we want to do is we want to actually go into that cell library. So I'm going to launch my f.connect for OpenRose Designer software. And I'm going to browse to my cell library. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab that one that I copied over. So once I'm in my cell library, what I want to do is I want to go to my Home tab and open up my Models dialog. And so the cell that we're going to copy for this one is going to be our Professional Engineer. So I'll just right click on this one and do a copy. And then again, I'm just going to rename it with my name. And you can completely rename it if you want to. I'd recommend leaving at least Professional Engineer in the description. So you just kind of have an idea of which ones these are if you create multiples within your own library. So just click OK. And so if you'll notice, once we're in our new cell, we've got the engineer of record title information down here, as well as our digital signature information. And if I just open this back up, if you'll notice, we've added the appropriate Florida administrative code for each of these other professions down here. So just an FYI. So what I want to do to this is I want to just zoom into the text down here. And all I want to do on this is, because of how we've got the tool that we've created set up to place these, is simply change the text information from the template provided to our specific information. No formatting changes or anything like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and enter all of my information in. And finish with my address down here. And then once I've got all that entered, I'll just left click and space to accept. And then I can just do a fit view just to zoom back out. And then we'll just do a file close. And so that's how we create our custom EOR cells. And now we're going to actually go into our plan sheet and place those. So exercise 10.3 covers placing our custom EOR cells. So let me open up my plan RD file. Okay, so now that I'm back in my plan RD file, what I want to do is come over to my FDOT tab. And under our actions group, we have this miscellaneous tools. So if I click on that drop down right there, what I want to do is I want to grab my place professional of record. And so this is the tool that we've created to actually place that cell onto our sheets. And what this will do is it'll actually go through and place that cell on every sheet within the current file. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we first select our plan sheet size. So I've used 11 by 17 on these, so I'm just going to leave that to the 11 by 17. And then what I want to do is I want to click on this ellipses button right here and then go browse to my cell library. So I'll do File, Attach, and I'll grab my cell library there. So next what I want to do is I want to go ahead and select my cell there. And then I'm just going to double click to make it active. But we're not going to actually place it using this Place Active Cell tool. What we want to do is we want to select our ellipse button again, and that's going to populate my active cell field in our tool here. And then what I want to do is I want to click on my Place Active Cells. And that's going to run through and place that cell onto every plan sheet in my file. So if you'll notice, it places it right down here in the center, just how we want. And then we've also got our electronic signature note over there as well. So that's exercise 10.3 on placing the custom engineer record cells. Next, what we want to do is we want to place these sheet models into our sheet index. So let me go ahead and close my tool there. And the sheet index is where we're going to get our sheet numbers, where it's going to finish populating the rest of our sheet border here for us. So what I want to do is I want to switch back to my Home tab. And I want to open up my Explorer. And so I've already got my sheet index tab selected here. If you don't, you just have to find it in your Explorer and just select the sheet index tab. So what I want to do now is I want to click on my little pencil button to open my index for editing. And then I can go ahead and expand out my index. And if you'll notice, we do already have a sheet in here. And this was from an earlier video when we actually placed our key sheet in here. So for my plan sheets, what I want to do is I want to open up my models dialog. And then again, we can just select our plan sheet models. And then all we need to do is drag them from our models dialog onto our roadway folder. And then if I expand that out, now you'll see it's got my plan sheets in there as well. And if you'll notice back here on my sheet number, it's added my sheet number as well. And so this is sheet 5 in my set. Although it's plan sheet 4 in the file, it's continuing on after our key sheet, which was numbered sheet 1. So that's sheet indexing, and that rounds out chapter 10 for us. And again, thanks for joining me today for this session on the plan sheet border annotation and sheet indexing. The next video we're going to cover will be chapter 11, and we're going to get into a little bit of our labeling. So also be sure to check out our f.cad training links there. And there's also our support email if you guys have any questions or need help with anything.